Welcome to our InFocus session this evening. Rotary Foundation and Humanitarian Service working together. The theme this evening of the Rotary Foundation is an important one for us all, and in particular, the importance of personal giving. All our sessions are recorded and available for you to use via YouTube. We hope you will use these with your clubs and with other organisations that you work with. Everyone is welcome to these sessions, and we would particularly be grateful if you invited others along too. So what I would like to do now is to invite Tom Hunt to introduce our speaker and to ask you all to put any questions that you have in the Q&A. Thank you, Tom. If you would introduce our speaker.
Good evening, everyone. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce past RI President Holger Knaack to speak to us this evening. I think it's very fitting as it is Foundation Month, and Holger is currently a Foundation trustee, that he is the speaker for us this evening. Holger's bio reads like a who's who of Rotary, so you're just going to get a bit of it tonight. Holger joined Rotary in 1991. He's a former director and treasurer for Rotary International. For 6 years, he was chairman of the Rotary Youth Exchange in Germany. Excuse me. He is, since 1995, he's been the owner of a real estate company, Knaack KG. Holger is a major donor to the Rotary Foundation, as well as being a member of the Paul Harris and Bequest Society. He has been married to his wife, Suzanne, for 46 years, and they have, I find this remarkable, hosted 40 youth exchange students. Over to you, Holger.
Thank you so much, Tom, and thank you all here joining us for this, I think, really important issue about the Rotary Foundation. So welcome from Northern Germany. And I just said to Tom, we had a beautiful day today here in Germany, by far too warm, but I think, yeah, we enjoyed the late fall here. So thank you. And by the way, Tom, I know that you avoided to talk about my Rotary Club. The name is Herzogtum Lauenburg-Mölln. I know it's a little bit difficult, but that's okay. So thank you for inviting me. And yes, let's talk about the Rotary Foundation and also the importance of personal giving. I love to talk about the Rotary Foundation, and I will not use one of the prepared scripts I have. You know, there are, I think, dozens of prepared scripts I have, but I think let's talk about that. I will not talk too long, and so let's really do some question and answers, what I really love. Before we start talking about the foundation, I really would like to talk about Ukraine and this terrible war, what happens right now there. If I'm talking in the United States, for them it's so far away, but for us here in Europe, it's so close. For me, it's just a 5 hours drive to the border of Ukraine. So it's really close. And I'm so pleased and glad that the Rotary Foundation was able to help so immediately. You all know our foundation is not known for being the fastest organization. But in this case, in less than 5 days, the foundation, the trustees took the decision and set up this special disaster response fund for Ukraine. And in less than 2 months, we collected $15 million. And nearly all of that is spent already. There are at least, I think, about 1.7 million less as right now to be spent. And we are totally sure that we can do it till the end of the year. So I would like to thank all of you who contributed to this fund, but also to all those who spent that money and applied for it, $25,000, and putting districts together so that there are much larger funds than just $25,000. And this is, by the way, is like a pilot. I like the idea that districts putting together their grants and so having much more money available than just district by district. And I'm very excited about the outcome and the reports of this district grants here. So I'm sure we can do it to help the Rotary, to help you people and refugees in Ukraine. And it's not just this 15 million from our Rotary Foundation. I know that so many hundreds of Rotary clubs in all over Europe have done their own help program for the Ukraine, and this is much, much more than 50 million. So thank you all for helping Ukraine, and I think we all hope that this terrible war will come to an end as soon as possible, of course, but I think this is still a hope today. So thank you, and I'm really proud of all Rotarians and the Rotary Foundation because we are really, really fast to help refugees from Ukraine. So without Rotary, the Rotary Foundation couldn't work. Without Rotarians, the Rotary Foundation would not work. So it's really so important that the Rotary Foundation, Rotary clubs, Rotary districts, zones, all of us are working together to make everything possible, what is possible. I'm always say, you know, the Rotary Foundation is not just a charity, it is more. It is an invitation to endless opportunities. There are so many things possible through our Rotary Foundation. Our problem in Europe is many of our Rotary friends don't know that. Normally, we are contributing through our Rotary clubs, but many Rotarians simply don't know that personal giving is possible. That's, I think, a challenge we have all over Europe to let our Rotary friends know what is possible and what we can do really to make the world a better place. The Rotary Foundation, and this is why I really trust in the Rotary Foundation, and the Rotary Foundation is the charity of my choice, because the Rotary Foundation is a totally unique foundation. You know, you, Rotarians and Rotary clubs, decide where the money is spent, not the trustees. The trustees are just making the rules, but Rotarians, Rotary clubs, districts deciding where the money is going. And this is unique because normally the trustees are deciding where to go with the money. Each local Rotarian has the opportunity to decide where the money is going. Then this year will be a challenging year if we are talking about contributions. It's not just because of the war, it's also because inflation, it's because high energy prices, it's because for us here in Europe, more difficult exchange rates because we are paying in dollar. So there are a lot of challenges this year. So I think really this is our strongest competitor this year if it comes to fundraising. Again, but I think whatever it's possible, we will do. Let's come back to the unique Rotary Foundation. Number one, I said it, not the trustees are doing taking the decisions what to do with the money. It's a real grassroots organization. Our peace centers, they are so unique. No other organizations are working for peace like us. Polio, our first and most important program is unique. No other organization had a huge program like this with billions of money. And we started it 40 years ago. And we are successful because we are working together with strong partners. WHO, UNICEF, Gates Foundation, Gavi, and United States CDC. That's why we are successful here. You know, people always ask me, why are we so successful with our polio program? Because Rotarians, all of us, are committed to end polio. And we will do the job. Let me tell a short story. My last trip before the pandemic out of the United States was in Pakistan, where I met the Prime Minister at that time, Imran Khan, and after that, and probably more important, the Chief of Army Staff, the 4-star general who's ruling probably the whole country. And we talked about 45 minutes, and it was about really making some, pushing is the wrong way, but remind them to do more in their vaccination efforts, because the numbers went up that time. And a general, you know, reminding a general is probably not the best way. So he immediately started and admitted, and he told me the story about his experiences in Congo when he was a colonel, United Nations colonel. And he told me, you know, I saw all these charities coming into the country. The first thing what they have done was spending a lot of money for new offices, and then they bought new Toyotas, and with all of this, half of the money was already gone. So I had the opportunity to say to him, General, the Rotary Foundation is totally different. The Rotary Foundation is not going anywhere because Rotary is everywhere. So we don't spend money to go everywhere. Rotary is everywhere because there are nearly everywhere Rotary clubs. So of course in Pakistan. And let's talk about ending polio in Pakistan, because you all know the numbers right now. And you know, it's not about numbers. It's not about the number of cases. It's just about, are we able to end polio? And I joined the Polio Day in Geneva at WHO, 1 week before that in Berlin for the polio pledge, and 1 week before that in Evanston, because I'm member of the International Polio Plus Committee. And the polio director of the WHO in O'Leary said very clear, we can do the job probably earlier than all of us expected. It's not about numbers, it's about opportunities. Right now, the number in Pakistan is 20. You know, 1.5 years ago, the number was 0. But the initiative, Polio Eradication Initiative, is checking wastewater everywhere. By the way, also in London, New York, and in Germany. I'm coming back to that. 1.5 years when there was no case in Pakistan, there were all over the country red dots. That means polio in wastewater. Today, there are 20 cases just in 3 districts. That's northern Waziristan and also southern KP. In 3 districts of about 600 districts in Pakistan. And there are 20 cases, but all the other dots all over the country are gone. That means there's no virus in the wastewater. So we have a great chance, because this is really a very focused area where the cases are, to end polio here. Afghanistan, there are just 2 cases in Afghanistan. And by the way, today, house-to-house vaccinations with the Taliban are possible. This was not possible with the old government. So this is really, we are making really progress here also in Afghanistan. Unfortunately, there are also some cases in Mozambique, but these 8 cases are also in a very local spot here. There is a good chance really because they came from Pakistan to end the pandemic in this area. So we have never we had such a great chance to end polio than today. You all know that there was the virus found in wastewater in London, in Israel, and in New York. And in New York, first time in the United States since decades, there was one case. A young man got polio in one of the suburbs of New York. The reason is very simple. In this area, very few people, very little people are vaccinated against polio. But it shows us polio can come back even if you are not traveling. I think as terrible as it is, but it will help our efforts and fundraising efforts here to get this 50 million. And it will be hard enough, as I said, there are so many competitors this year to raise this 50 million. So that's what I said. The Rotary Foundation is unique, and you can trust the Rotary Foundation because we are so cost efficient. We are looking always for ideas and for good stories. My polio story is the following. I was several times in India. This year, just in July. And I saw very many polio victims. You know these pictures, these terrible pictures crawling in the dirt and not able to walk. But I never saw a child. All of these victims were young adults. This is something that is really important. Because of our vaccination efforts, there is no child affected by this terrible disease. Let me come to major gifts, because there's a very simple story about our donations to the Rotary Foundation. 1/3 is coming from major gifts, major donors between 10,000 and somewhat million a year. That is 1/3 of all our contributions. The second third is of so-called mid-size, from so-called mid-size gift between $1,000 and $10,000. And the last third is from small gifts, from Rotary clubs and from all of us at least. I think this is really interesting. And that's why major gifts, why personal giving is so important, because it's at least 2/3 of all our money coming into the Rotary Foundation is because of people, you and I, decided to do a personal contribution to the Rotary Foundation. And I can tell you why. One of my favorite Zoom calls in the last years were talking simply with Arch Club Society members or major donors. And I remember a story with Els van Engelken. 2 years ago, when I was president, she was district governor in Florida. And she contributed $500,000 to the Rotary Foundation. And I thanked her for her contribution. And she told me, Holger, it was not a contribution. It was an investment in water projects. An investment. I think this is a different view on that, what we are doing. Not just contributing the money, because as I said, it's our decision where the money is going. And so it's not just a contribution, it's an investment, what Els van Engelken has done. And there are other possibilities, opportunities for us to do, probably not with this number. My wife Suzanne's Rotary Club, for example, they did a global grant in Nigeria, together, of course, with the Nigerian Rotary Club. And they decided to train young women to do their own business. So they were trained in chicken breeding and in knitting And so this was a two-part grant, started with training and then also with a small loan so that they can start their business. And this was approved and everything was fine, but there was, I think, about $5,000 were left here in open position. And you know, and Suzanne has done this by her own, because it's easy then going with the cash contribution into a global grant with an amount what is possible for many people. And this is, you know, very simple, because this is a project, it's a grant, you know where the money is going, you take the money, put it definitely and just and only into this projects, and you know definitely where the money is gone, and the money is going to 100% in this project. This is possible. And by the way, you're also earning credit points at the Rotary Foundation. So these are two examples where you can really go directly into projects. And I'm really a fan of this water project in Delft in Holland. It's a project and a training what is done by the Rotary Foundation together with UNESCO. And it's about water education. It's a Delft Institute for Water Education. And this is a global grant scholarship of our foundation to train people to make water projects in Africa. And this is something what was else said. This is an investment and not just contributing the money here. So no, what we need is simply a good reason for people why they are contributing to the Rotary Foundation, because then we can ask people directly, what do you think about supporting this global grant? What do you think about supporting another global grant? So this is really, I think, a lot of opportunities for us here to go with cash into grants or to contribute as a direct gift, creating our own program. So there are these opportunities, but we can talk about that later, what the opportunities are. At last, I would really like to talk about our endowment fund. You know, one of our problems at the Rotary Foundation is, but please don't quote me, it's just among us here, our Rotary Foundation is a poor foundation. We are living really from today to tomorrow. We say it in Germany, from the hand into the mouth, because we need all this money year by year, because our endowment fund is not the largest one. Our goal for 2025 is 2.025 billion. Really, and I'm asking all of you that people know that we have this opportunity to contribute to our endowment fund. And you know, it's the same in Ireland and Great Britain, the same in Germany, France, Italy, everywhere. We are having overaged societies and also overaged Rotary clubs, of course. And so many of us are thinking about an endowment. This is our opportunity, because again, as I said in the beginning, we can decide where the money is spent, in what area of focus. We can decide if it's enough money, what kind of project we would like to support with our endowment. And we can also create a very personal endowment in our endowment fund of the Rotary Foundation. So again, many, many opportunities. But it's not about money, it's not about numbers, it's always about the outcome, what we are doing with our money. And there are so many stories. If you go to Rotary Showcase, you can see what happens with our money. So many great projects. And this is just possible because of the Rotary Foundation. If I'm asking people to contribute or to make an investment, what I always love to do when I'm talking with people, I really like to ask them, you know what, you decide where the money is going. If you're contributing your money to the Red Cross, it's going somewhere. Contributing to the Rotary Foundation, doing an investment into our Rotary Foundation, you know exactly where the money is going, and you can trust the Rotary Foundation. By the way, this 100 million dollar from the Gates Foundation, it's not just something in the air. The Gates Foundation is really transferring 100 million to the Rotary Foundation. Really transferring. It can be found in our accounts. And this is simply because the Gates Foundation is trusting in us. So I'm talking enough right now, more than 25 minutes. I think it's enough. Let's talk about together. Ask whatever you want. Ask crazy questions. I'm not hesitating to say simply, I don't know the answer, or I do not agree with you. But I think let's talk a little bit. And thank you so much listening to me, even if I was speaking in my poor English, because I didn't use one of the prepared speeches. Thank you so much.
Holger, thank you very much for some interesting comments there. And as an former EMGA, Endowment and Major Gift Advisor, I definitely endorse your comments about the endowment fund. We had a number of questions that we received when people registered, which I'm going to now look at and see if I can test you with these. Ken McClellan's asked, what do you see as the most compelling story that encourages individuals to give to the foundation?
First of all, real stories. Real stories. That's I think the most important thing. And more important, if it's your own story, what you have seen with your own eyes. As I said, my experiences in India with polio victims, when I never saw a child affected by polio, but many other victims. I think this is something where people can start to think about what really happens here. I think the story about results, and I think this is most compelling always. And then it depends, of course, on your abilities to tell a story. Some of us are telling a story just about the facts, so showing pictures. I just heard our Rotary International President, Jennifer Jones, telling her story. This is much more emotional. So if you are able to tell emotional stories, it's probably also, it's also works probably better than just telling facts. Thank you.
Brilliant. Ken was a bit cheeky because he put two questions in and the one follows on to the other. So I will mention this one as well. He says, where can I get a presentation that sells the sizzle, the benefits of what Rotary does, rather than the sausage, just that we collect money, dollars or pounds for the charity?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I really love this question because numbers don't say anything. And just telling people, wow, we are the number one and charity navigator, I think it's about trust. So it's not about 100% charity navigator or whatever. It's simply about trust and the stories and videos. So there's in Rotary show, there's in the Rotary page, My Rotary, there are also videos. And there are also videos in, let me just say that, I will just check that, Vimeo. Yeah, Vimeo, V-I-M-E-O, Vimeo. This is the channel where you can find Rotary Foundation videos, small clips, but also under YouTube, you will find small clips. Very easy.
Thank you very much for that. With the dollar so strong against sterling and the euro, how can we persuade Rotarians now is still a good time to donate to the foundation?
It's going up and down. We all know that. So I think, no, I think, you know, it really doesn't matter. It's next year it will be probably, it will be going vice versa. I'm totally sure that the Europe at large, not just Great Britain, but also the euro and other currencies will go up if we probably see the end of the war. I'm totally sure with this. Just a short story about different currencies here. So even if it comes to paying fees to the Rotary Foundation. And there are other countries in South America, for example, or also Africa, with terrible conversion rates and exchange rates. And so they are always asking, so can we give less because of this terrible exchange rate? And then the answer back is, when I spoke with people from Brazil, just 10 years ago, it was totally different. You had much better rates, but you never ask to give more to a Rotary instead of less right now. So, this is up and down, and I hope that we will see different exchange rates next year.
Okay. But presumably you don't want people to wait till next year to make their donations.
Yeah, no, that's what we try, what? That's when I said in the beginning, Michael, the Rotary Foundation is a poor foundation. We need year by year the money, because we really looking for donations from Rotary Club members every year.
Okay. And talking about regular regular contributions, how do we encourage more Rotarians to become sustaining members? It was the question from Derek Newman, and I would also add on top of that, those who are able, the Paul Harris Society as well.
As I said, it's a journey. It doesn't happen just once with one story. I think we should really telling ongoing stories, success stories, telling people what the outcome is of our projects. And there are really great stories right now. Right now, for example, the President Jennifer Jones is in Cairo at the Climate World Conference. And she is talking about our mangrove projects, helping and planting and helping mangrove forests to grow. And there are about 90 projects worldwide from Rotary clubs, from Rotary districts to support this mangrove project. So it's again just telling people about what we are doing and why it's the best idea to become a member of the Paul Harris Society.
Excellent, thank you. There are a couple of other questions, but I think you answered those actually within the talk you've given. So what I'll do now is Tom Hunt's been monitoring the Q&A box, and I'll hand over to him to give you some fresh questions following on from your talk. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Michael.
Okay, from Paul and Janine Birtwistle. What happens about giving for Ukraine once the 15 million from the disaster response grant is spent? Is it going to be a major gap for Rotarians in Ukraine to continue their incredible efforts without these DRGs?
Thank you very much for that question, because this is an important one. No, it's not the end. It's just the end of this special fund. Of course, there's still our disaster response fund. And I'm asking all of you who are able to contribute, please contribute in this disaster response fund. Because there's the opportunity to apply for grants for the Ukraine. It's just the end of this special fund. In the disaster response fund also, of course, grants are possible for Pakistan right now because of this still terrible flooding in Pakistan. So it's not just for the Ukraine, but we can also apply for grants for the Ukraine. So it's not the end, it's just the end of this special fund. But I'm really asking all of you, contribute please into this disaster response fund and then apply for grants.
Thank you very much. Okay, also from Paul and Janine, how can we encourage the public or corporates to donate to our foundation, and our own Rotarians who still do not get the message? By a wider pool of donors, question mark?
That's I think two problems. Let's start with our fellow Rotarians. I think this is not the easy part, but they are easier to reach, these our fellow Rotarians. Probably, for example, for polio, just every 10th Rotarian is contributing to polio. I think it's really up to us to remind our club members to do what they can do. And even every single pound is really welcome here. I think it's up to us. And so I'm asking all of you here in this Zoom meeting, please become a fundraiser to the polio project, of course, but to the Rotary Foundation. Please ask your current club members and say, hey, it's possible for you, even if it's a small amount, but please show that you are committed to our program. The second point is, it's probably a little bit difficult or more difficult to get money from outside organizations or from outside people. I think the only possibility is here being visible, probably again with polio, on streets or on every occasion where we can promote our polio program and let people know that because of Rotary started this initiative, we are able to end polio in the next years. I think this is with probably out on places, streets, on festivals. Let's do some polio booth and let's show what we can do. This is the opportunity to get money from outside the organization. What is critically important, I think. So there are opportunities to do that, but again, I think it's really up to us to talk to all our Rotary friends in our clubs and let them know, hey, please show that you are committed not just to Rotary, but also to our Rotary Foundation and to our projects.
Okay, thank you, Holger. Irene Russell, what is it? What is the no, sorry, my mouse has moved. What is it that stops Rotarians from making the Rotary Foundation their charity of choice?
If I would know the answer right now, I think we probably could be more successful. I think it's a lack of information. And our major problem is right now to be heard by fellow Rotarians, because there's too much information from everywhere. And I think, so that's why I'm always talking about that. This is a unique, really a unique foundation, our Rotary Foundation, totally different to other foundations, that you just let people know what I said at the beginning. This is really an invitation to endless opportunities the Rotary Foundation can do. And it's really, Rotary Club can decide by itself what to do with the money. I think this is convincing people is probably not enough, but showing people what is possible through the foundation.
Okay, thank you. From Eve Conway, what is the significance of the programs of scale going forward?
I love that. Greetings to Eve. So Eve, I'm really looking forward to work with you when you are taking office. So thank you for that. Yes, so most of the programs except polio are, if you compare it with other foundations, are more or less smaller projects done by districts and done by clubs. If we are looking for strong partners, and as I told you in the beginning, the polio initiative is successful because of all these strong partners contributing much more than we are doing right now. And this is the start of providing also large programs and getting other donors, other organizations on board. So with this program of skills, the first one was the fighting malaria in Zambia. The Rotary Foundation put 2 million into this program, but also the Gates Foundation put 2 million and the World Vision put 2 million. So this is a large program with $6 million. And now we started that, and we see right now, after a year, great success in malaria, because the number of malaria cases is going down in this country, significant down. And program of scale means it is easy right now if you show other organizations the success to get more people on board because we are providing a successful program already. That's the secret behind program of scale. This year program is in Nigeria. It's about mother and maternal and child health here, helping families to survive and reduce the number of mortality among mothers and newborns. And again, we see here significant success already. This is not a new program. It's an ongoing program. This localities, communities where they started this program, the mortality rate of mothers went down by 50%. So again, we try to scale this program. By the way, the German government is stepping into this here with the high number. We try to scale because we can tell other organizations about the success of this program because it's not brand new, but we know how to do it.
Okay, thank you, Holger. Back to Paul and Janine. Oh, sorry, no one before that. Clive Amos. There are sometimes tensions between giving money for humanitarian causes and for the global scholarships. How do we balance this?
We don't balance this. It's a decision of the club and district to try to apply for a global grant for humanitarian project, as you said, or if the club decided to apply for a global grant, scholarship. It's not a balance of our foundation. It's up to the Rotary clubs to do that, and districts, of course. So, but what I'm always asking clubs and districts when I'm talking to clubs, it's find your own balance. What do you think? Balance is for me the most important thing for clubs, not just between scholarships and humanitarian projects, but also between, if they have to decide between local projects and international projects. Very often local projects are necessary more or less, but the needs in other countries is normally much, much higher than in our countries here in Europe. So it's about balance, of course, but again, it's about the outcome. And by the way, sorry if I'm talking too long, by the way, this was also the reason why we moved from ambassadorial scholarships, where students applied simply because it was a good option for them to get money. We moved to the global grant scholarships with a humanitarian focus on their education. So that's the reason why we really, even if it's a scholarship, it's focused on humanitarian education.
Thank you, Holger. Right, now from Paul and Janine. Again, this is quite long. Will the same flexibility, which has been so helpful for Ukraine district disaster response grants, be possible from the General Disaster Response Fund for things like multi-district disaster response grants, which together have a bigger impact? This would be helpful in Pakistan to, of course, not just Ukraine.
Yeah, thank you again for that question. I love it because I like the idea what we decided to do these joint grants together between districts. So without changing rules here, we are possible to put together much larger projects. To be very honest, I don't know it, but I know that we are waiting. I'm really excited to see the outcome and the reports of this joint grants in Ukraine, where just one district is going to report. But I'm totally sure we first will evaluate the reports, what happens in Ukraine, before we open this for other disaster response funds or grants here. So let's wait a little bit. What happens? Let's wait to evaluate the joint grants in Ukraine. And then if it really works good, I'm totally sure that we will be here more flexible in the future.
Thank you for that, Holger. Right, from John Box, as well as encouraging Rotarians to donate, is there not a question to be asked as to what the organisation is doing to make Rotarians more aware of Foundation? It is amazing how many Rotarians are totally unaware of just what Foundation is and what it stands for.
Yes, we do what we can. On every president-elect training seminar, on every governor-elect training seminar, at the Rotary Assembly, International Assembly in Orlando next year, not longer San Diego, at the convention, wherever we go, we are talking about the Rotary Foundation. If you look at the magazine, there is one report and one message from the Rotary Club, from the Rotary International President, but also a message from the chair of the Rotary Foundation. So I think we're doing a lot. Sometimes I don't know if Rotarians are closing their eyes and their ears not to see anything about the foundation, but I think we do what we can. So that's why I'm asking all of you, tell the story if you are talking with your Rotary Club friends during a club meeting or after or before a meeting, just remind them and tell these incredible stories, what we can do with our Rotary Foundation.
Yeah, personal comment, I think you're quite right there. We need Rotarians to talk to Rotarians. We need a champion in each club, and then we may work it from the bottom up. Okay, next one is Ashley Gray. Not a question, but a comment. In the UK, there are many organisations who have funds earmarked for corporate social responsibility. Is it just a matter of seeking them out and asking them?
Yes, we know that it is possible, and we know that in India there is a really good initiative to look for more money from corporates, from companies, still companies. Yes, it's possible. It's possible, but you know, you have to look for local people to do this. It's nearly impossible for someone from Evanston or someone from Germany right now to look for companies who are really contributing and through the foundation. But it's possible. It's even with the directed gift, it's easy because you just need $15,000 as a contribution, and you can put your name into this project.
Okay, thank you, Holger. Last question from Eve Conway. Holger mentioned about being visible about our End Polio Now campaign. Just to say Rotarians are going purple for polio in the Lord Mayor's show in the City of London. Oh, sorry, just to say Rotarians, I'll rephrase that. Rotarians are going purple for polio in the Lord Mayor's show in the City of London this Saturday, and in the London New Year's Day parade to raise awareness.
Yeah, thank you again. There are again endless opportunities to show awareness, and I think in front of the hotel of the Institute in Basel. So that's the Institute for Germany, Switzerland, Italy, France, Netherlands, Spain. So this they had two cars with in red and End Polio Now, and in Germany we had just a couple of years ago a train branded with End Polio Now. So there are so many things possible, but hopefully, and this is one of our challenges, people will remind that Rotary started this. So we all know all the other organizations, if UNICEF is also talking about polio, And also Bill Gates, of course, is talking about ending polio. So it's up to us Rotarians to also to raise our voice and to show, hey, we started this and we are committed. And by the way, Eve, I was sometimes disappointed when I was in Berlin and hearing countries pledging for ending polio. We all know that Great Britain went from 120 million to 0 right now, while France came, first time since 13 years, contributing and pledged for the next 3 years, 50 million euro. And then I was also disappointed when the health minister of Saudi Arabia went to the stage and then announced that Saudi Arabia will contribute the next 3 years $100,000. $100,000. Next was Ian Risley and pledged 150 million for Rotary. And then Chris Elias from Bill Gates of the Bill Gates Foundation came and announced the new contract between Rotary and Bill Gates. So to add another 300 million the next 3 years, made total 450 million. So this is really the number one after Gates. Are we second in our contribution? I think this is amazing what we can do. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the questions. So it's incumbent on me, Holger, to thank you so much for giving up your time this evening. We all know how busy you are. I think everyone listening has been informed and inspired, but what's really got me is how it obviously came from your heart. And I think that comes out, and I think and I thank you for that. I'm also really pleased that you had to answer these questions. I think I might have struggled on a few of them, so well done for that. The key words I picked up during your talk are unique, that our foundation is unique, that we do allow endless opportunities, and that Rotarians can decide where the money goes, which makes us unique. And I know I'm talking to the choir, but I think that's really important to emphasize. And also the fact that what the heading of this talk was, personal giving is key. You mentioned that 2/3 of the money comes in through personal giving and major grants, and we've got to continue that so that we can carry on people making investments. That's the other new word I've picked up today, that it's an investment in all our futures. So thank you once again for your talk, which I know everyone will have enjoyed. And I'll give you a personal clap while my microphone's on. And I'll now like to pass to Cheryl, who's going to talk about the next InFocus talk.
Our next InFocus session is on Wednesday, December the 14th at 7 p.m. The theme then will be disease prevention and treatment, and we will be looking in particular at the impact of bipolar and how Rotary can help to support the work of Bipolar UK. We very interestingly have 3 speakers for that session. Professor Guy Goodwin, who's Professor of Psychiatry from the University of Oxford. We have Simon Kitchen, who is the CEO of Bipolar UK, and Leah Milner, who is an award-winning journalist. We do hope you will join us again, and please invite other people. Thank you so much.